In this lesson, we will be transitioning to the audio section. Here, we need to go to the program's Preferences, which is the Settings section. If we click on the live text, or if we click on Preferences, or to show it in a shortcut, when we press Command, comma, or Control, comma, it will open the settings window for us. To make the settings related to audio, we need to click on the Audio tab. The driver type we see at the top here is the type of our audio interface. Here, we are selecting our input and output devices. The audio interface we are using is for input. If we are going to record a sound, we need to select our own audio interface here. Or if we are going to record an instrument, it's the same. Here, if we want to hear the output through headphones, we need to select the headphones from our audio interface. If we want to hear it from our computer's speakers, there will be different output options, like our computer's speaker. From here, we need to select the relevant option as well. Sample rate. The sample rate is this. Normally, the options we see here go from 44 to 100 to 192,000, 48,000. It goes from 44 to 100 to 192,000. Nowadays, the most commonly used format when working on a project is actually 48,000. When you installed your sound card, it was automatically mapped to this. Ableton Live is opening. What we call 44-100 is actually the format that was used in CDs back in the day. The logic of sample rate is that it represents the number of samples taken in 1 second. Of course, as the number increases, the sound quality improves because there are more samples taken. There is a positive improvement. However, this maximum sample rate of 192,000 is used in Blu-rays for the highest quality audio files, while $96,000 is used in old DVDs, and 48,000 is used in normal post-productions such as TV series and movies. We can say that it's the post-production standard used when creating sounds. So, in the end, these are the options that correspond to the CD when we export our project, either as a CD or at $48,000. I usually use 48,000. Here, the main thing we need to pay attention to is latency, which is the delay. Normally, when working on our project, we use the highest sample rate, which is indicated here as 2048. This minimizes the load on the CPU and allows us to work more comfortably. It allows, but when it comes to recording an instrument or a vocal, if we leave it at 2048, we will encounter a delay when we enter the recording of this set. So the meaning of the delay in this latency part is actually this normal. Since I am recording the screen right now, the sound of the microphone reaches you directly from the sound card without any delay. It enters itself. But for example, if I were to record a vocal or a dialogue, a conversation in Ableton, subscribe. Normally my audio channel is open here. Here's my audio interface. My second channel is currently my microphone. Look, it has already started monitoring right away. If you enable this for recording, I can start seeing my audio signal here. Now, when I switch this to on, we actually can't hear the recording because it's currently off. When I switch this to on, there's currently a dilemma in the sound. This is exactly the delay. The reason this happens is that since I'm working at 2048, yes, I'm using less CPU, but the sound in my recordings reaches me with a delay. So, in the same way, it will also come to my recording with a delay. What I need to do for this is to go to the settings section to eliminate the delay. By pressing Command and comma or Control and comma, you can lower the sample rate to the lowest possible setting here. However, here again, the disadvantage is that when I lower it to the minimum, yes, I will eliminate the delay, but this will seriously load the CPU in return. The main issue we need to pay attention to here is this. So to summarize, when we make a sound recording, it could be an instrument, for example, a guitar that we plug into our audio interface, or we might want to record a vocal using our microphone, or with our microphone's paste. Let's say we want to record a live instrument. We need to set the sample rate to the lowest possible here to minimize the delay. After we finish the recording process, meaning once we return to the production part, we need to use the highest possible sample rate again for better CPU management, so that we can benefit from our computer in the most efficient way. Another thing I want to show to eliminate this delay is under the options section here, under the options tab, there's reduce latency when monitoring. So what we call monitoring is our own feedback. For example, to eliminate the delay on the audio we are recording, to reduce it. So it means to reduce it. When we click this option to eliminate the delay is even less. We'll notice, but it's worth reminding again, this is possible. We need to record at the lowest sample rate so that there is no delay. This is a bit of a confusing concept at first, but later on, while our project is running, we use the highest possible sample rate so that we can achieve maximum efficiency. Besides sample rate, we'll also come across the concept of bit depth. Hey. Normally, again, it will be used in sync with the audio interface we are using, but here you will see options like 16-bit, 32-bit, and 24-bit. Just like the sample rate, bit depth is also a factor that can enhance or relatively reduce the quality of the audio being recorded. Again, what we typically use there is essentially 16-bit. So to summarize, we are actually working with a sample rate of 16-bit 48,000 kHz, or 16-bit 44100. We're working with a kHz sample rate. When exporting, we will also be exporting in the same way, either 16-bit 48 or 16-bit 44100. At a higher sample rate and with a higher bit depth, for example, 32-bit. Of course, it's possible to work with bit depth and at 192 as well. A good one in terms of getting sound quality. However, the downside of this is that it will use more CPU, and we'll be working on a project that increasingly lags. On the other hand, the samples we import into our program, that is, the ones we bring into our program, samples from different places, audio samples, are mostly available everywhere as a standard, either as 1648 or 164400. So, a project consisting of an audio file that we work on at 164400, or raising our MIDI to 192, or increasing the bit depth to 32, technically doesn't give us any advantage. Still, I wanted to go over these topics. Let's open the window where our shortcuts are. For example, there's a folder here with my samples. Generally, the things we will encounter are WAV format. WAV is the most lossless audio format. So, it's the version that reaches us in the form it comes out of our computer or the producer's computers. Therefore, it is a lossless audio format. Aside from WAV, another format I should show you here could be this. Let's type AFF in the search bar here. Another format that we will frequently encounter will be this. AIFF, which is the equivalent of the WAV file in the Apple world. In videos, just like with the MP4 and movie story, we will see it with the AFF extension like this. These will also come up frequently. Another format we have, I assume, is one that we get samples from outside. What we will encounter, it's the RX2 format. This is also one of the audio formats that is frequently used during production. Aside from these three main audio formats, we also have our famous MP3s. MP3 is actually the most lossy format, so it's a compressed version. We usually export our tracks in 16-bit 44100, or we export it as 16-bit 48000, and then it is converted to MP3 format by various digital platforms. The size is reduced, and at the same time it is compressed. And in the audio signal, generally with mixing, it becomes a lossy format. The differences I mentioned are actually not big differences that can be noticed by ear under normal conditions, such as the differences from 16-bit to 32-bit, or from 44100 sample rate to 192,000 sample rate. Whenever you have much more professional sound systems, whether at home or in a club environment, for example, or in a stage setting, those differences actually become quite apparent. The differences actually become quite apparent in environments where you have a stage and professional sound systems. In any case, I wanted to briefly summarize the topic in a technical sense.